How do we create habits? How can a mother, a young mother of young children, amidst all the responsibilities that she has, still create habits that are needed or that are necessary for her growth? Today I'm going to be talking about how I started creating habits that I knew I needed to form, habits that I knew that were important for me to become the woman that God has created me to be. I'm going to talk about a couple of the habits I formed, and some I'm still hoping that I will form. They say it takes 21 days to create a habit. I haven't found that quite true. It took me a lot longer than 21 days to form the habits I'm going to talk about today. But yeah, let's get into it. So first thing, writing every single day. So I've always known that God has given me a gift of writing, but I don't like it. Well, I didn't used to like it. The thought of just sitting down and starting to write something used to bore me so much, and I was just like, I can't do this. But back in 2020, during the lockdown, God gave me an idea. And that idea was, I think I read a story where something happened to a child in the school. The mom was at home, and just to find out that something had happened to them, and the whole thing just kind of shook me. And I started to think about how important it is for us as mothers, for mothers to pray for their children every day. I sent a message to all the mothers I knew. I was like, hi, do you want to join me as I pray daily for my children? And I said, in fact, I will share a prayer with you, and then you will pray with your child, or pray over your child. And straight away I had lots of people sign up. And it dawned on me that it means, Adanze, you need to write every single day a prayer for these mothers that you just invited to join. Basically what happens is they just get an email that says, this is the prayer for the day. And I had to. So that was my first time actually sitting down, creating an email that said, here's the Bible verse, talked about the Bible verse, and I created a prayer. So since July 2020 till today, that email has been going out. So every woman that signed up to that list to receive a prayer that they can pray for their children has been receiving a daily prayer since then. Somehow, that made it possible for me to venture out into other areas of writing in my life. So recently, I've been learning how to become the best version of myself. I've been reading a lot. I will talk about that in a different video. Reading a lot of books and getting myself exposed to a lot of things that I know, obviously with the direction of God, that where He's calling me to go. In the last 3 months as well, I started writing a daily journal, call it a journal, of what happens in a day, what I'm learning. And honestly, it wasn't that difficult this time around, because I had started the praying list before and I was writing every day. So it's been 2 years now, but I was writing something. Some days I kind of recycle the prayers, but it's fine. But when it got laid on my heart to start another writing project 2 months ago, I started it. And it's been two months and I haven't stopped. So every night I pick up my my virtual pen, which is my laptop, on my phone, and I type my journey, like what happened in the day, what the lessons I learned on that day. And it just got me thinking about how a little thing that God asks us to do, something that God lays in your heart to do, is preparing you for the future. I believe that if God didn't tell me to write those prayers for the past 2 years, right? I've been writing those, and okay, they're prayers. I can pray prayers, right? But I feel like when God then laid in my heart to start another blog, it's not a blog, it's like an online diary of the things I do every day, it was much easier because I had been through the process of writing every day for the past 2 years. Although the things I'm writing now is different, a lot different from the prayers I used to send, or I'm still sending, I think that the process, the discipline it took, the drive, the fact that I looked back and said, Adanze, you've been writing for the past 2 years, so you can easily do this. That's why it was easy for me to move to this new area that God has been laying in my heart. If you do want to check out what I write, I'm going to link it in the description. But that's the first habit that I created, or I started to do, and it's been working so far. The second one is reading. So back in 2020 as well, I started this journey of developing myself and just trying to do more things that I know that God is calling me to do. And it involved a lot of things. Like I never used to read at all. Obviously I went through university and I read for the fact that I had to read and pass the courses of the modules. But to sit down and open a book and read for like non-fiction or fiction, it was just not on my radar. And so around the same time that God spoke to me about starting this prayer email for mothers to pray for their children, I started reading. This was lockdown as well. I started reading. I went from reading no books at all. So in 2019, I read no books. In 2020, I read about 4 books. This was around July when I started. 2021, probably about 23 books. This year, I've read more than 30 something, up to 40 something books. And my reading routine was literally reading 30 minutes every day. So whether it was paper form, whether it was a digital book, I had to put 30 minutes in my diary. So every night I would just read for 30 minutes. And some days it would be long because I didn't want to, but I would open my book. So I had it in my schedule, read for 30 minutes. I would open my book and I'll start reading. And sometimes I'll fall asleep, which is okay, because the important thing is not that you actually read, it's the fact that you actually opened the book. you were disciplined enough to open the book, whether a physical or a digital book, and you started reading it. So definitely scheduling that 30 minutes every day in my diary since 2020. Now I can just sit down and read a book straight. I started reading a book yesterday. I'm almost finished it. It's because the mindset. So it didn't take me 21 days to build that habit. So don't believe everything you read. It took me a long time, and maybe because my journey is different. I'm a mother of 4 children. I am a wife. I'm a friend. I have a business. I run a business by God's grace. I do everything. So it will probably take me longer than the 21 days to build that habit. Sometimes it took me months. But at the end of the day, it's the discipline that counts. It's the discipline you put into it, knowing that actually this thing I'm doing now might take me a long time, but as long as I'm committed to what I'm doing, as long as I open the book, I may not read it, I might fall asleep, but every day at 8:30, I need to open my book and read. And so I would open the book, and slowly it became an hour. Slowly I found myself reading even in the mornings, found myself reading in the afternoons, or found myself going and buying a book and finishing it in a day. It's just the importance of starting small. I read The Atomic Habits, which is a really good book. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. And it just talked about how building a habit it builds on each other. So just the way I started writing the praying emails, it was easy for me to then go and write something else. Because I started reading 30 minutes a day, it was easy for me to now start reading more than 30 minutes a day. It's just the importance of starting small. If you want to go to the gym 3 times a week, start with eating an apple a day. That's the best way I can explain that. If your dream is to write, 100 words, start by reading a page a day. It may not seem like it's related. It may not seem like, hold on, but I want to go to the gym. How does eating an apple help? It's a mental thing. Building a habit involves discipline. So as long as you can discipline yourself in the small things, somehow, automatically, the big things just fall into place. And so, yes, I just pray that as many of us that are still believing God for the grace to do something over and over again, just ask Him to help you to start small. Ask Him to show you, what do you need to start today that will help you create that habit. So as always, start small, do the little you can, but make sure you stay committed. Don't start with a big thing, start with a small thing. I pray that this video has blessed you. God bless you.